The silent invasion. The morning dawned like any other across Earth's cities. People hurried to work, children played in parks, and the everyday rhythm of life continued its familiar cadence. In New Shanghai, Dr. Elias Rodriguez was presenting his latest neural interface research to a packed auditorium. In Nairobi, Commander Maya Chen was enjoying her last day of leave before returning to Sentinel Base Alpha on Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. Neither knew these ordinary moments were humanity's final hours of normalcy. The sky changed first, not with clouds or storms, but with the arrival of massive ships that materialized simultaneously over every major city worldwide. They appeared without warning, their surfaces absorbing light rather than reflecting it, creating void-like silhouettes against the blue sky. For exactly 1 hour, they remained motionless and silent. "What do you make of it?" Maya asked her brother Kai as they stood on their parents' rooftop garden in Nairobi, staring upward like billions of others across the planet. "I don't know," Kai replied, his hand instinctively reaching for Maya's arm. "But military command is scrambling. My unit's been called in. The world's governments attempted contact, radio signals, light patterns, mathematical sequences, but received no response. For that silent hour, humanity held its collective breath. When the response finally came, it wasn't in the form of communication. The ships began to emit a soft, pulsing green light that cascaded downward like gentle rain. People watched in wonder, some reaching up as if to touch it. Those caught in the light continued walking and talking, but something fundamental changed. Their eyes emptied of expression. Their movements became mechanical, and their voices flattened to monotones. Maya noticed it first in her brother. "Kai?" she asked, reaching for him as the green light faded from his skin. He turned to her, his face a mask. "I must report for processing," he said in a voice that no longer belonged to him. Without another word, he walked away, joining streams of similarly affected people, now moving with singular purpose through the streets. Maya's military training kicked in. She ducked inside, avoiding the next wave of green light, and gathered essential supplies. Her communicator buzzed with an emergency override signal from Europa Command. "Chen, get off planet immediately," came Admiral Okafor's voice. "The same phenomenon is happening worldwide. We're detecting massive neural activity being uploaded to those ships. They're harvesting minds." The aliens, who later identified themselves as the Axiom in broadcasts that hijacked all Earth's communication channels, revealed their purpose with cold efficiency. Human consciousness was an ideal processing substrate for their vast computational needs. Billions of minds were being networked together, memories and personalities fragmented and repurposed as cognitive resources. Within 48 hours, nearly 70% of Earth's population had been harvested. Military resistance proved futile. Weapons seemed to pass harmlessly through the ship's hulls, and any personnel caught in the green light immediately turned against their comrades. Maya reached Sentinel Base Alpha 3 days after the invasion began. The base, built within Europa's ice crust and shielded by the moon's magnetic field, remained undetected by the Axiom. There, she found 217 survivors, scientists, military personnel, and civilian contractors who had been stationed off-world when the attack began. "We're officially the last free human command structure," Admiral Okafor told the assembled crowd in the base's central hub. Her dark eyes carried the weight of what they'd all witnessed through remote feeds. "As far as we can tell, the Axiom have no interest in the outer colonies yet. They're focused on Earth's population centers." "What about Mars colony? Luna base?" someone called out. Compromised, Okafor replied simply. "The Axiom located and harvested them on day 2. Dr. Elias Rodriguez stepped forward. The neural interface expert had been touring Europa's research facilities when the invasion began. "I've been analyzing the data we've managed to collect," he said, activating a holographic display that showed brain wave patterns. "The Axiom aren't killing people. They are using human minds as processing nodes in some vast biological computer network." "So everyone's still alive?" Maya asked. "In a manner of speaking," Rodriguez confirmed. "Their bodies continue to function, directed by base impulses and axiom commands. Their consciousness, memories, personalities, everything that makes them human, has been fragmented and networked within the axiom system." A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. These weren't just invaders. They were harvesters of what made humans human. For weeks, Sentinel Base remained in observation mode, gathering data, intercepting axiom communications, and trying to understand their technology. Rodriguez made the first breakthrough when he detected anomalies in the axiom network. "Look at these patterns," he told Maya and Okafor, pointing to fluctuations in the data stream. "The axiom system is experiencing small but persistent disruptions. I believe some human minds are instinctively resisting assimilation." "How is that possible?" Maya asked, leaning closer to the display. "The axiom designed their system for perfect order, but human consciousness is inherently chaotic, creative, unpredictable," Rodriguez explained, his eyes alight with the first hope they'd felt in weeks. "Musicians, artists, people with certain neurological conditions, they're creating disruptions in the network. And something else." He pulled up satellite imagery of Earth. "There are pockets of unaffected humans. People the harvesting technology doesn't work on." The images showed small groups moving through city ruins, avoiding axiom patrols. They appeared to be organized, deliberate in their movements. "Resistance," Maya breathed. Admiral Okafor straightened her uniform. "Then it's time we make contact." Using Europa's long-range transmitters, they'd broadcast coded messages on frequencies the axiom seemed to ignore. It took 3 weeks to establish contact with the largest resistance group, led by a former quantum physicist named Zora Ngata. "The harvesters don't affect us," Zora explained during their first secure communication. Her face on the screen showed exhaustion but fierce determination. "Those of us with quantum neural implants, the medical kind used for treating certain brain conditions, seem to scramble their harvesting signal." "How many of you are there?" Okafor asked. "About 10,000 worldwide that we've confirmed," Zara replied. "We're scattered, hiding, but we're finding more every day. People who were in shielded areas during the initial wave, those with the neural implants, a few with natural immunity we don't yet understand." Rodriguez leaned forward. "I've been studying their technology. The axiom are using human consciousness as a computational resource, but the system isn't stable. Human minds weren't designed to function as uniform processing units. They're chaotic, creative, unpredictable. We've noticed that," Zora said. "During certain times, the harvested people glitch, moments of awareness, confusion. It never lasts long, but it's happening more frequently." For the first time, a plan began to form. If Rodriguez could develop a signal that amplified those natural disruptions, and if they could deliver it directly to the main axiom processing hub, they might be able to trigger a system-wide cascade failure, awakening billions of captured minds simultaneously. The obstacles seemed insurmountable. They would need to get to Earth, infiltrate the main axiom vessel, access its core systems, and survive long enough to implement the plan. But for the first time since the silent ships appeared in Earth's skies, humanity had hope. "We'll need a diversion," Maya said, military strategy already forming in her mind. "Zara's ground forces can target axiom ground operations, while a small team infiltrates their main vessel." Okafor nodded. "I'll lead the team here, coordinating and providing technical support." Rodriguez held up a small device. "And I'll need to go to Earth. The signal has to be uploaded directly into their main neural processor. I've been working on a prototype. I call it the Awakener." Maya checked her weapon, a habit from years of military service. "Then I'll get you there." As preparations intensified over the following weeks, Sentinel Base transformed from an observation post to a war room. They repurposed a supply shuttle, modifying it with salvaged axiom technology recovered by Zora's resistance fighters. Rodriguez refined his Awakener device, testing it against samples of Axiom code intercepted from their communications. The plan took shape. Maya would pilot Rodriguez and a small tactical team to Earth under the cover of a meteor shower. They would rendezvous with Zora's resistance fighters, who would provide ground support and intelligence. Together, they would infiltrate the largest Axiom vessel, the one hovering over what was once Geneva, where the Axiom had established their primary neural processing center. The night before the mission, Maya stood in Europa's observation dome, looking at the distant speck of Earth, still blue and beautiful from this distance, giving no hint of the horror that had befallen it. "Thinking about your brother?" Rodriguez asked, joining her. Maya nodded. "And my parents. Everyone." "If this works," Rodriguez said quietly, "we might get them back. Not immediately, and maybe not completely, but we'll have a chance. And if it doesn't?" Rodriguez was silent for a moment. Then, we're the last page of humanity's story. He placed a hand on the glass. "But I don't think that's how our story ends. The Axiom made a fundamental miscalculation when they chose humans as their processing substrate. They wanted order and predictability, but they harvested imagination, creativity, and an indomitable will to survive. As Europa's night cycle dimmed the lights, the last free humans prepared for a mission that would either liberate Earth or confirm its fall. The Axiom had come to harvest a resource, seeing humans as nothing more than complex neural tissue to be repurposed. They had not considered that what makes humans powerful isn't just our brains, but what we do with them, our creativity, our adaptability, and our refusal to surrender even when all seems lost. Tomorrow, the Axiom would learn why harvesting humanity was their most catastrophic mistake. Reclamation. The Sentinel shuttle approached Earth under the cover of a meteor shower, its modified hull absorbing radar and energy scans. In the pilot's seat, Commander Maya Chen guided the craft through debris with practiced precision. Behind her, Dr. Elias Rodriguez ran final diagnostics on the Awakener device, while 4 tactical specialists checked their weapons and equipment. "Atmospheric entry in 3 minutes," Maya announced, her voice steady despite the tension coursing through her. The blue planet filled their view screen, beautiful from a distance, but hiding the horror beneath its clouds. "Ground resistance confirms the landing zone is secure," reported Lieutenant Dias, monitoring communications. "Zera's team will meet us at the rendezvous point." As they descended through cloud cover, the true state of Earth became visible. Once great cities now served as processing centers, strange crystalline structures rising from their centers. Endless lines of harvested humans moved like ants between buildings, their movements mechanical and synchronized. The massive Axiom ships hovered above every major population center, connected to the ground facilities by pulsing filaments of energy. "Geneva at 2 o'clock, Maya said as their target came into view. The largest Axiom vessel dominated the skyline, at least 3 kilometers in length. Unlike the other ships, this one pulsed with constantly shifting patterns of light, the visible manifestation of billions of human minds being processed within its neural network. They landed in a secluded area outside the city, once a nature preserve, now overgrown and abandoned. Before the ramp had fully descended, a group of figures emerged from the tree line, weapons ready. Commander Chen, a tall woman with close-cropped hair, stepped forward, her dark skin marked with a faint scar across one cheek. "I'm Zora. Welcome to what's left of Earth." The resistance fighters looked hardened, their equipment cobbled together from military and civilian technology. All of them wore neural disruptors, modified versions of medical implants that protected them from the Axiom's harvesting signals. "You made it just in time," Zora continued, leading them to a camouflaged vehicle. "Axiom patrols have increased in the last 24 hours. They're preparing for something big. More harvesting equipment is being assembled in the city center. They're optimizing their system," Rodriguez explained as they traveled through abandoned suburbs. "I've been monitoring their communications. The Axiom are preparing to move beyond Earth, Mars colonies first, then further into the solar system. Then we have no time to waste." Maya said. Their plan was daring in its simplicity. Zara's resistance fighters would launch simultaneous attacks on 3 ground processing facilities, drawing Axiom security forces away from the main vessel. Meanwhile, Maya, Rodriguez, and the tactical team would infiltrate the mothership using access codes extracted from a captured Axiom drone. Once inside, they would fight their way to the central neural processor, where Rodriguez would upload the Awakener code. If my theories are correct, Rodriguez explained during the final briefing, the code will create a cascading awakening effect. The human minds with the strongest self-identity, artists, musicians, individuals with highly developed senses of self, will awaken first. They'll help wake others, creating a wave of consciousness that the Axiom system can't contain. And then, one of the resistance fighters asked. Rodriguez's expression was grim. Chaos. The Axiom built their entire system on the assumption that human minds could be perfectly controlled. When billions of minds suddenly start fighting back, the system will destabilize. As night fell, they moved into position. The infiltration team boarded a maintenance drone that Zara's engineers had modified, while the resistance fighters prepared for their diversionary attacks. Synchronize watches, Maya ordered. Attack begins at exactly 200 hours. We need to be in position at the neural core by 2:30. As 200 hours approached, a tense silence fell over the group. Maya found herself thinking of her brother Kai, wondering if some part of him still existed within the Axiom network, if he might be one of the first to awaken if their plan succeeded. It's time, Zara said, checking her weapon one final time. She grasped Maya's arm in a soldier's farewell. See you on the other side of this. One way or another, Maya agreed. The resistance attacks began with precision. Explosions lit up the night at 3 processing centers around Geneva. Alarms blared across the city as Axiom security forces mobilized. In the confusion, the maintenance drone carrying Maya's team detached from its hiding place and ascended toward the mothership. Access port at Sector 7, Lieutenant Diaz reported, monitoring Axiom communications. Security protocols responding to ground attacks as predicted. The drone docked at a maintenance access point, and the team entered the Axiom vessel. The interior was unlike anything human architecture could conceive, organic yet mechanical, with corridors that seemed to pulse with light flowing through transparent conduits in the walls. Those are data streams, Rodriguez whispered, watching the patterns of light. Each spark represents fragments of human consciousness flowing through their system. They moved deeper into the ship, encountering minimal resistance. Most security forces had been diverted to the ground attacks. The few Axiom drones they encountered were quickly neutralized by the tactical team. The neural core lay at the center of the vessel, a massive spherical chamber housing what looked like a crystalline tree, its branches extending in all directions. Each branch terminated in a cluster of glowing nodes, and within each node, tiny sparks of light moved in complex patterns. My God, Rodriguez breathed, staring at the structure. There must be billions of consciousness fragments in there. How much time do you need? Maya asked, positioning her team at the chamber's entrance. 5 minutes to connect to their system. Another 3 to upload the code. Rodriguez replied, already moving toward what appeared to be a control interface. You've got 8 minutes, Maya said. After that, we need to be moving toward extraction. Rodriguez worked with focused intensity, connecting his device to the Axiom interface. The alien technology resisted at first, but Rodriguez had studied their systems for months. He found the pathways, breached their security protocols, and prepared the Awakener code for upload. Something's wrong, Lieutenant Diaz suddenly announced from his position at the door. Security forces are returning to the ship. They're not buying our diversion anymore. Maya made a quick decision. Hold position here. Nothing stops that upload. She turned to Rodriguez. How close? Upload at 20%, he reported, not looking up from his work. I need more time. Outside the chamber, they could hear the sound of approaching Axiom security drones. Maya and her team took defensive positions, weapons ready. 30%. Rodriguez called out as the first wave of Axiom security reached them. The aliens moved with inhuman grace, their elongated limbs bending at impossible angles. Energy weapons discharge, forcing Maya's team into cover. 50%. Rodriguez announced as the firefight intensified. One of Maya's team went down, then another. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they only needed to hold a little longer. 70%. Rodriguez called, his voice tight with tension. The chamber entrance was becoming difficult to defend as more Axiom forces arrived. Maya took a hit to her shoulder, the energy weapon leaving a burning trail across her skin. She gritted her teeth and continued firing, buying seconds, moments, whatever time Rodriguez needed. 90%. Rodriguez announced as Maya fell back to his position. The tactical team now reduced to just Lieutenant Diaz, who was badly wounded but still firing. Upload complete. Rodriguez finally shouted. For a moment, nothing happened, and Maya felt a wave of despair. Had they risked everything for nothing? Then the crystalline structure at the center of the chamber began to pulse with new rhythms. The lights within the nodes flickered, shifted, some growing brighter while others dimmed. A tremor ran through the ship. "It's working," Rodriguez whispered, his face illuminated by the changing lights. The human minds. They're waking up. Throughout the vessel, systems began to malfunction. Gravity fluctuated, lights flickered, and the Axiom security forces suddenly stopped their advance, their movements becoming erratic and confused. "The Axiom control system is collapsing," Rodriguez explained, watching readings on his device. "The human minds are fighting back, taking control of subsystems, disconnecting from the network." A strange sound filled the air, not quite music, not quite language, but something between. It was the sound of billions of human minds coming back online, remembering who they were, what had been taken from them. "We need to move," Maya ordered, helping Diaz to his feet. The ship's becoming unstable. They made their way back through corridors, now filled with confused Axiom drones, some frozen in place, others moving in erratic patterns. The entire vessel shuddered periodically as systems failed and power fluctuated. The Resistance reports similar effects at all Axiom vessels worldwide. Diaz reported, checking his communications device. "It's happening everywhere." They reached their maintenance drone, just as a massive power surge rocked the ship. Rodriguez monitored his device as they detached from the mothership. "The awakening is spreading faster than I predicted," he said, watching the cascade of data. "The Axiom network architecture is collapsing under the weight of billions of individualized human consciousnesses, all demanding control." As they descended toward the rendezvous point, they witnessed an extraordinary sight. Harvested humans on the ground were stopping their mechanical tasks, looking around in confusion, some falling to their knees, others reaching out to one another. The vacant expressions were giving way to fear, confusion, and gradually, recognition. Zara was waiting when they landed, her face showing a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. "It's working," she said without preamble. "All over the world, people are waking up. Not everyone at once, but it's spreading." In the days that followed, humanity began the long process of reclamation. The awakening continued to spread, with those who regained consciousness first helping to bring others back. The Axiom, their perfect system shattered by the chaotic nature of human minds, retreated from Earth's orbit, their ships disappearing as suddenly as they had arrived. Recovery wouldn't be immediate or simple. Many awakened humans struggled with fragmented memories, emotional trauma, and the horrific awareness of what had been done to them. Some regions had been more extensively modified by the Axiom than others, requiring years of cleanup and reconstruction. 1 month after the successful mission, Maya stood on a hilltop overlooking what had once been Geneva. Construction crews, all human, all volunteers, worked to dismantle Axiom structures and reclaim the city. Among them was her brother Kai, one of the millions awakened by Rodriguez's code. "He may never remember everything," Rodriguez said, joining her. "None of them will. but they remember enough. Who they are, what matters to them. And the axiom? Maya asked. Gone, but not destroyed, Rodriguez replied. I've been analyzing the data we recovered. They won't come back to our solar system. Not after what happened. They underestimated what they were harvesting. They wanted computational power, but they got human determination instead. Maya watched as a group of children, some awakened, some born to the resistance, played in a newly cleared park below. What do we do now? She asked. Rodriguez smiled for the first time in months. What humans always do. We rebuild. We remember. We make sure this never happens again. As sunset painted the sky in brilliant colors, humanity continued its slow but steady reclamation, not just of their planet, but of their identity. The axiom had attempted to reduce humans to mere processing power, failing to understand that what makes humanity powerful isn't just our neural architecture, but our creativity, our unpredictability, and our indomitable will to survive. They had tried to annihilate what makes us human, but in doing so, they had unwittingly created the perfect conditions for humanity's most defining characteristic to emerge: our ability to unite and rise against impossible odds. From now on, humanity would call the shots, not just on Earth, but in whatever ventures awaited among the stars.